2. Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. A beautiful week around here as I get a bonus trip out to Southern California. Never been to the L.A. Memorial Coliseum, and what a weekend to be in one of the venerable stadiums of California. But to my next guest, there's only one stadium in California that matters this weekend. It's Stanford Cal Week in the life of Jason Cole. And, they're 5-5 and 4-6 in some places, but this is the most important game in the world, right, Jason? In your world, at least.
In all the world. Why would we restrict it to mine? And it's no game should be bigger and more important than Stanford Cal on everybody's calendar. I'm shocked that it's not a pay-per-view event.
Well, I am coming into the state a day early, but I'm on the other end of the state at this point. Man, you talk about pay-per-view events. By the way, Jason Cole's been covering the National Football League longer than anybody. You can follow him at Jason Cole 6'2". He's voting on the Hall of Fame amongst other things, and I don't know. We can put Lamar Jackson into the Hall of Fame for first year, right? I don't know what to make of it.
We voted him in unanimously in a secret ballot last week.
I love it. When's the induction?
Well, we want to keep that a bit of a secret, but I think it will be simultaneous with the Super Bowl when he raises both the Lombardi Trophy and the MVP trophy.
Well, I mean, that's fascinating that you think it's all unstoppable at this point. 6 weeks ago, they lost to the Browns, and everybody had their feelings hurt, right? So you've been doing this a long time. You remember, we can sit here and talk about Randall Cunningham and Michael Vick and all the other guys. That this feels different, maybe because I'm in it. It's certainly being reported differently, and I think being approached differently. It's exciting for my people, Jason Cole, Well,
I think it's exciting for everybody. I mean, look, if you like football, you got to like this. I mean, and I had a brief text conversation with Greg Roman the other day in which I said, explain to me how, Lamar Jackson is compared to Colin Kaepernick, because everybody knows that Greg Roman coached Colin Kaepernick back in San Francisco, and he goes, it's apples to oranges. They're totally different. I think that's how, and he didn't get more involved than that. That's as far as he went. But he believes Lamar Jackson's a way better player than Colin Kaepernick. And Colin Kaepernick, during that Super Bowl, that run up to the Super Bowl against Baltimore, was having a pretty phenomenal year and was doing some striking things. And, it fell apart the next couple of years, and he started to not play as well. But the team fell apart as well. So I think Lamar Jackson, there are some people who have done this, and he seems to be doing it at a much higher efficiency than others. And I think that is truly, people want to say, oh, he's faster, he's got more wiggle. Look, Robert Griffin III was a world-class track athlete. There's very few people who are faster than Robert Griffin III. Lamar Jackson, to me, the reason that he is so good right now is it's not one factor. It is a combination of watching the execution, the improvement in his passing from year 1 to year 2, and his passing in year 1 wasn't as bad as a lot of people think. It just looked funny. It didn't look like it's supposed to look. It didn't look like Dan Marino or John Elway throwing, but that's okay. And obviously his running ability is extraordinary. My only question when it comes to Lamar Jackson is, how long does this last? Because the history of the NFL is guys don't get faster. Their athletic ability doesn't increase as time goes on. It only decreases.
Well, you believe even if he stays healthy, there's a 5-year window here, right? Because by the time he's 30, he won't run like this anymore.
I don't know. That's the question. I mean, if you're playing the old actuarial table, probability of sports, if you got 5,
the one that Tom Brady breaks every time he eats avocado ice cream, right, at 42, right? Literally.
Right. I mean, yes. Is it likely that it's going to be done in 5 years? And you look at what's going on with Cam Newton, you look at other guys who've run, and there are some exceptions to those rules. But if you get 5 years like this, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with 2 more like this. It's fine with me, man. Just give it to me.
play it out and see if you can win something while he's at the top of his game, and worry about the rest of it later on. That's all, and see how long he takes it out. I mean, again, Michael Vick only played one full season his entire career because of injuries and going to jail and all the other things that happened, and his body broke down when he came back from being in prison. So. Is Lamar Jackson's body going to break down if he runs 200 times in a season? Yeah, more than likely the answer is yes. He's eventually going to take some hits. In the meantime, hey, enjoy the party.
Jason Cole enjoying the party of Stanford and Cal this week. You can follow him at Jason Cole 6'2". Nobody covering the National Football League finder. Look, I've been meaning to reach to you for a couple of weeks. I'm glad every guy like you that I really respect that loves these deep dives and takes this thing apart and thinks at the game at a different level. The longer I wait, the juicier the story gets for Ozzie Newsome, for Eric DeCosta, for the draft class last year, for the trade back. And, Peter King was on this week. He wrote at length about all the trading that went on a year and a half ago. Just some thoughts about this is what happens when you have a competent organization with competent leadership, that they can identify this. They can say, we're going to trade back into the first round. We're going to get him for another year. We're going to strategize this out. We're going to get rid of Flacco. We're going to build around him with wide receivers like Willie Snead that can block a little bit. We're going to put a bunch of big tight end Nick Boyle types. We're going to have this Pat Ricard type. We're going to have a real athletic offensive lineman, and we're just going to run you ragged. And they decided to do this 18 months ago and actually committed to it. But more than that, in the season, Jay, the real story for me is I had Josh Bynes out on Monday at Adams Jeep, and we've seen L.J. Fort, Marcus Peters, who's getting a homecoming in L.A. this week, not to mention Domata Pecco and Ellis last week, that what the organization and in keeping Harbaugh around. This time last year, Harbaugh was going to lose his job, right? And now they're 8-2 and they're on top of the world and they have this kid. This is a complete, and you mentioned Roman, right? And Wink as well. This is a complete organization firing at a very, very high level in a lot of ways right now, I believe.
Yeah, and that's what has to happen, essentially, for this to work, because it's not conventional what they're doing with him and how he is performing. You don't draw up in normal football. And you do go ahead and say, look, Marty Morningwood, it's been fun, but Greg Roman's done this and knows how this operates. He's had a guy like this and made it work. And that's why you make Roman the guy, right? That's why you go out and you get certain players who can help you set up your running game. That's how you sit there and say, okay, Lamar, if you're going to do this, you have to be really good at making quick assessments on, are you going to pull it out and throw it? Are you going to run it yourself? What are you going to do? This all has to be done in the most split of seconds.
Well, then you're going to come back to the bench and tell me why you did it that way. What did you see, right?
I don't even look. The why, I don't even want to know the why during the game. I want to know the why during the week, because I don't want to cloud his mind with, well, you should have maybe done this. Lamar Jackson, the beauty of Lamar Jackson is that he is so precise now and doing things out of reaction. The thinking has to be done in the off season during the week. That's when you ponder, what are you going to do? But you get out there on Sunday, there's no more time for thinking if you're going to play this way, because it's reaction football. But the thing that you're seeing is it's not only reaction football, but I remember it was in the opener against Miami. The pass he throws to, I think it was to Hollywood Brown across the middle that Hollywood Brown throws. Like, the whole execution of that is sublimely brilliant. Okay, it is just a beautiful thing to watch, and the entire season has been that way. Because this is a guy who is playing, who's already quick, already fast, already gets rid of the ball, relatively quick, despite, having a little bit of a funky delivery. But he's playing without thinking. He's playing with reaction. And that's when you play at your best. And that's the kind of thing that you're talking about that takes 18 months to do. To make the symphony play as a symphony, okay? You don't just roll all the different sections out on, opening night and say, okay, you guys play this great. It doesn't happen that way. It takes a lot of preparation. And they've done that. And they are reaping the rewards for it and maximizing this guy's value.
Jason Cole here. He is Jason Cole 6'2", one of my favorites. You can follow him out on Twitter. He is writing all sorts of writings about the National Football League as well as the Stanford-Cal game this week. You said not conventional, right? And this again goes back to, and look, I'm not here to pimp DaCosta's Executive of the Year, but my eyes tell me, and the adjustments they've made and the acquisitions and the pro personnel department and what they've scouted and how they've designed and built the team. But your relationship with Greg Roman and watching him do this, there was a point in Cincinnati a week and a half ago where I felt like it was like the Rush song Red Barchetta. It was like he had the perfect car, the perfect engine, the perfect road, and now he can drive it. It's almost like for Greg Roman to have this offense and really know what to do with it, because he couldn't drive it in this way with Kaepernick because he couldn't run that way. Obviously, even Deshaun Watson last week, any other quarterback, that you can do things here that you wouldn't be able to dream of doing in any other offense.
Well, I think that's because, yes, everybody is signed on to this one. Whereas when you watch Deshaun Watson, he does some things where it's like, okay, the play just broke down, and now let's go play street ball. But it's not designed to be that way. It's designed to be drop back passing, but we'll let you go do whatever you go do when you have to do it. That's not what Baltimore said in this one. Baltimore said, no, we are playing this brand of football, and we will play this brand of football as long as it lasts, but we're going to maximize this brand of football. And that is the difference. And again, it's not just Greg Roman being on this page and getting him in charge. It is, Eric DaCosta. It is Ozzie. It is the owner. It is the head coach. It's everybody saying, okay, we're going to do this. We're really going to do this.
Now, how tough a sell was that in the other 31 rooms if you are general manager on year 2 or 3? Most of these guys never last 5 years, right? I mean, we've seen all these losers we've played recently, right? Miami, just these turnstile Cleveland, these organizations
it's all
where
about the owner.
Yeah, sure.
It's the owner. Does the owner have balls? And if you're asking me, and trust me, of those 31 people who own NFL teams and then the Green Bay Packers, we're talking about people who have put a lot on the line. Okay, some of them are, obviously some of them grew up with money, and some of them made their own money. And the people who make their own money, yes, those people know what it's like to go out and take a chance and understand that if you're going to do that, you have to be fully committed to it. That's Bisciotti, right?
Sure.
That's the definition of his life. And he's not a person who is afraid to do something, and he's not wishy-washy, okay? He's not second-guessing himself. He's sitting there going, okay, we're going to do this. If it doesn't work, then I'll come back and I'll fix the problem. But if you guys tell me this is the way you want to go, we're all in.
Did it make sense to you?
I remember him
go ahead.
talking about people that he's hired in the past, and whenever he suspected that person was not all in on the organization, he was done with that person.
But did you suspect that this could be successful? Because to your point, no one's really tried this. I mean, Wildcat a little bit, and every quarterback who is run first or thinking about running, or someone that's going to run 8, 10, 12 times a game, they always project that player at college to not be that guy at the pro. I mean, it's a courageous move, but it's also the move of an organization that has all the same scouts, even as Josh Bynes comes back 7 years later, right? And I bring him out. He knows everybody in the building. Everybody's the same. There is a part of that. There are only a handful of organizations that would be willing to do something like this. So,
it's more like it's not even – like, you're just always expecting that this guy's going to fall apart, because exposing a player to this kind of running is just antithetical to how you're supposed to play in the NFL. I mean, As good as Randall Cunningham was, if you look at him after 5 years, he was done running. If you look at
Steve
Michael
McNair,
Vick,
he was done running too. A lot of guys.
Michael Vick only carried the ball 100 times in a season once. Okay, we like to talk about how great a runner he was. He only did it once. Russell Wilson's done it twice. Again, I think Cunningham did it twice. Bobby Douglas, as big a runner as he was back in the 60s and 70s, did it once. John Elway, never. Steve Young, never.
Steve Young, by the way, never curtailed his running. He ran just as much at the end. I mean, it was 50, 60 times a year, but he didn't fall back to not running.
Right. But when you're saying I'm going to be able to run a guy 150 to 200 times, wow. I mean, it is. Look, there's a lot of big, fast humans out there. And you put your quarterback up against a lot of big, fast humans, you got to have courage to want to do that. You have to really buy into wanting to do that. But this kid, I think, look, let's give a lot of credit to the kid, too.
Oh,
I think the kid's completely committed to making it work. And again, I go back to the little things that I see are somebody completely devoted to their craft. And I don't think, Kaepernick wasn't completely devoted to his craft, which is one of the reasons he regressed. Cam Newton wasn't ran a lot, ran 100 times or more 5 times, which is why he's dealing with so many injuries right now, right? I mean, that guy's hurt from head to toe right now.
And he is a big man, much bigger man than Lamar.
He's a much bigger man than just about anybody who's ever played quarterback. I mean, he's a monster, okay, which is why he's put up with some of it. But his problem was he never committed to making the throwing better, right? He just said, I'm going to get by and I'll be fine, and never fixed his release and never fixed, some of the high throws that he had. He didn't develop better touch. He didn't quicken his release. He wasn't, it wasn't all a symphony. Like when you watch,
he was only great once. He was great 1 year, right? Literally, Cam Newton.
No, he's great. He's great more than 1 year. Look, he had a
great.
I'm
talking about great.
He's had a very good run. Yeah, MVP quality, yes, once, but he's had a very good career and worth it. Lamar Jackson, to me, it's the team's bought in, but more important than anything else, the player's taking full advantage of it. I mean, it's a stupendous thing to watch because the player, and for whatever reason, whether that's to prove people wrong or because that's his work ethic and that's the kind of human being he is, or whatever, or some combination thereof, he's taken this, he's grabbed it and said, if you're going to let me, I'm going to be perfect at this. And the stuff I have seen has been perfect. Not every throw, okay? Nobody's going to be like that. But the execution of it, the timing of it, the playing without hesitation part of it.
Well, the thing that's been perfect is he's been really good with the ball. Like ball security, when you play ball tricks all day, the ball always hits the carpet. They've been really, really good about that through 10 weeks.
Well, I mean, compare him to Jameis Winston right now. I mean, Jameis Winston, there are just times where I think he just throws the ball up for grabs. And, Brett Favre did that too, right? Brett Favre suffered at the second half of his career when he stopped working at it. Jameis Winston, I'm not sure he knows how to work at it. And, he's just sloppy with the ball. This kid, again, my only question is how long will it last? When will somebody figure him out? What will they do to him? What will be his counter move when they do figure him out? All those things that you talk about in sports all the time, whether it's football or baseball or basketball or, any sport. How's the guy going to evolve? But for right now, this is playing as brilliantly as anybody can.
Jason Cole, 6'2", the way to find my pal Jason Cole covering the National Football League. I'm not going to let you get out of here without taking a little turn around the league or the AFC or predictions for bye weeks and where the Ravens are and all that. But the 17-game schedule and what lies at the end and when the season's over, that all sort of leaked out this week. That's sort of bigger picture where you and I are, where I fly into L.A. this week. I will see the new stadium being built. I will get to go to my first and maybe only game ever at the L.A. Memorial Coliseum on Monday, so I'm excited about that.
I hope it's the only game that you ever see at the Memorial Coliseum.
Yeah, and
that place has been a dump for 40 years.
At least, right? All of my lifetime, for sure, since the last Olympics. But on top of that, the Chargers and what happens to them and the Jaguars and the Ravens are in first place and still had 10,000 people not show up for the game last week. I'm wondering where this goes internationally when the Ravens and Chiefs get together in 2023 in Rio,
Mm-hmm.
That's happening, right? I mean, like that this might really happen, this 17-game thing. This might be real.
Oh, the 17-game thing is, because that's going to happen because they want to export the games. That extra week, that 16 games that you talk about, is so that when they start to export more and more games, those games don't count against people's home and road schedule. That's the whole point. Nobody's giving up a home game anymore. It's your 17th game. So it's a neutral site game. And so you take all those games and you sit there and you say, okay, we got 3 in London where we're getting a niche. We got Rio. We got somewhere in Germany, China, Mexico City. Okay, that's, maybe another game in Mexico and another game in China. Now we've talked about 7 or 8 games. That leaves us 8 games to place somewhere else. We can go, okay, let's go into Canada and, give those folks either in Vancouver or Toronto. They got a lot of money. Let's go put a game up there. Let's talk about, do we want to go down to, do we want to go to Portugal? Where do we want to be? And that's what that 16 games of extra games in week 17 is designed exactly with that in mind. That's what the NFL has wanted to do for a long, long time, and they believe that there's a ton of money to be made doing it. And I think they're probably right.
Well, they know where the money is, right? I mean, they always know that part of it. For you and getting the game right and officiating it right and getting the timing right, who's policing all of that with pass interference and the officials? I mean, they have a lot of issues here as they ramp up for gambling from your seat and all that.
Yeah, but those are small-time issues. I mean, those fix themselves. I mean, we love to talk about it because we love to get hysterical about it. but look, the thing that they want to prevent is they don't want another situation like New Orleans. Okay, they came up with a rule that prevents New Orleans. Right? That's all they're looking to do. They don't want to change a lot of pass interference calls. They don't want to have people going after. They only want the most obvious, egregious things taken care of. And people haven't gotten that message, which is why they complain about it every week. So because they don't want stoppages in play as much as people want. That's the whole point of overturning so few calls is to discourage the coaches from doing it so that you don't stop the game so much. And that's what they want to continue. You only want to really do this if you say, oh boy, we got a serious problem with a missed call, right? Like,
well, I know Marlon Humphrey was real happy with the call last week, so it's where
it happens. There's going to be a few, but that happens.
Jason Cole, 6'2", joining us here. So Ravens going to be in Miami Beach when you and I get together late January or no? What do you think?
Lamar Jackson coming home? Is that what you're saying?
You're a believer in this? You're a believer in the Ravens long-term here over 8-10 weeks from now?
I'm not a disbeliever.
Okay.
I don't like. I'm not in that. I just don't like. There's more I want to see. Okay, but they have as much chance. I mean, look. If you say if Lamar Jackson has to go through New England, and I know that they just did, do you think you can do it twice when Belichick's had a chance to scout you and get ready for you? Now, New England's had a lot of problems with quarterbacks who do what he does over the years. The only one that they've really, truly stopped was Tebow. And that's because they had such a huge score advantage and because Tebow liked to take punishment. He was crazy that way. But I don't know. I don't doubt it. I would love to see it. I just telling me you're going to get through New England a second time, if that's what has to happen. I just worried about that one.
That'd be a bootstrap game. That'd be a fun game, though. There,
Oh,
here,
it'd be
wherever.
awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. The season is shaping up nicely. Jason, it's great to hear from you. It's great to check in, and certainly it's a lot of fun to have the Michael Jordan of the NFL, at least here, at least for the next little while. So we'll enjoy it while we ride it. We'll send everybody out to Twitter to follow you. Go beat Cal, piss off Mike Silver. I'm all in, all right?
Oh, yeah. I'm pushing in on that. I love it.
See you soon, bud.
See ya.
Jason Cole, 6'2", the way to follow him. Longtime NFL writer, scribe, insider, Hall of Fame voter, all of the above, and a great guy to talk football with as well. Jason Cole, C-O-L-E, 6'2", out on Twitter. I'm out in the bay at Toyota.com Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. I'm headed to L.A., even though I don't have my sunglasses on in the studio. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all of those places. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Lamar Jackson.